The crypto market is sending some seriously mixed signals right now. Some assets seem to be treading water, while others are, well, they're taking a nosedive. And just to make things a little more interesting, a very old, very shiny competitor is starting to steal the spotlight. So, what is really going on here? Let's dive in and decode it.
So, here's the million-dollar question, right? Is this whole situation just a temporary slump, a little dip, or is it actually a springboard for the next big move? To even begin to answer that, we've got to start with the two titans of the crypto world.
All right, let's talk about our two main characters in this story, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Because this week, they are telling two completely different tales, and it all starts with the numbers.
I mean, just look at the contrast here. It's pretty stark. Bitcoin is holding incredibly steady. It's barely moved at all. But at the same time, Ethereum is down almost 4%. That difference, that divergence, is really the key to this whole thing. So what in the world is putting so much pressure on Ethereum?
Okay, let's zero in on that downward pressure on ETH. This isn't just one simple thing. It's really a combination of a few factors. And it all starts with a huge wave of forced selling.
Wow, just look at that number. In a single 24-hour window, almost $100 million in leveraged Ethereum positions were just wiped out, forcefully sold off. That's what we call liquidated. And it's a massive, massive wave of selling pressure hitting the market all at once.
So, why the huge sell-off? Well, experts are basically pointing to a perfect storm. For one, money has been flowing out of those Ethereum spot ETFs. On top of that, you have to remember that September is historically a pretty weak month for crypto. It's a trend analysts call weak seasonality. All of this created enough downward push that the entire market saw about 300 million in liquidations, and Ethereum, well, it took the biggest hit of all.
Okay, so now let's switch gears and talk about Bitcoin. Because while Ethereum was really struggling, Bitcoin was telling a completely different story. Bitcoin has been showing some really impressive resilience. It's found this solid base of support, kind of stabilizing in that $11,100 to $11,200 range, even as the rest of the market was feeling the heat. So, what's propping it up?
Bitcoin's stability seems to be built on some seriously strong pillars. The on-chain fundamentals look great, and its network security, which we measure by hash rate, is at a record high. At the same time, you've got big institutions that are continuing to buy in, and that helps create a price floor. And all of this is leading to a pretty major shift. Bitcoin is starting to act less like a risky tech stock and a lot more like a safe haven asset.
But here's where the story gets a little bit messy. Because even with these strong signals for Bitcoin, the experts are totally split. Right now, it's a classic battle between the cautious and the optimistic. So, on the side of caution, you've got Vikram Subbaraj from Jadis.com. He's basically arguing that until Bitcoin can decisively, and I mean really close a day of trading above $114,000, the momentum just isn't convincing. If it fails to break through that ceiling, he thinks there's a real risk it could fall back down toward $106,000.
But then, on the optimistic side, you've got Edu Patel from Mudrex. He's pointing to a really fascinating detail about Ethereum. He says the amount of ETH just sitting on exchanges ready to be bought has fallen to a 3-year low. This could create something called a supply shock, where a sudden rush of buyers find there's just not enough to go around, and that potentially could drive the price way up.
Okay, now we need to zoom out a bit, because this isn't just about crypto versus crypto. There's a traditional heavyweight that has stepped into the ring, and it's pulling both attention and, more importantly, money away from digital assets.
And of course, we're talking about gold. The original safe haven asset is hitting brand new record highs. And in times of uncertainty, investors, they do what they've always done. They look for safety. And right now, gold is shining brightest.
And this chart really shows the result. We are seeing capital flow out of assets like crypto ETFs and flow into the perceived safety of gold. This flight to safety is creating a pretty big headwind for the entire crypto market.
So with all these conflicting forces pushing and pulling on the market, what are the key things you should be watching? Let's break down the important price levels that all the experts have their eyes glued to right now.
All right, here are the key numbers to watch. For Bitcoin, think of the support floor as being between $106,000 and $110,000. The ceiling it really needs to break through is that $114,000 mark. Now for Ethereum, its immediate floor is around $4,300, and it desperately needs to push past the $4,500 ceiling to get its momentum back. These levels are going to be the key battlegrounds over the next few days.
And all of this leads us to one final, really critical question. With gold making such a strong comeback, is the whole idea of Bitcoin as digital gold being seriously challenged? Is crypto going to prove its resilience and bounce back stronger? Or are we actually witnessing the start of a much bigger shift back towards traditional safe havens? The next few weeks are going to be very telling.